My parents invited me to a fancy family dinner, but sat me at a separate kids' table while my sisters and their husbands sat at the main table. I quietly got up and left. An hour later, they started calling me with apologies. Growing up as the youngest in my family wasn't always easy. I'm Zoe Parker, 28, and despite having a pretty decent job as a software engineer at this tech startup in Boston, my family still treats me like I'm perpetually 12. My parents, Richard and Margaret, they're so old school, like they genuinely believe you're basically a child until you've got a ring and a mortgage and 2.5 kids. And then there's my sisters. Heather, who married her college boyfriend Brian like 5 minutes after getting her diploma, and Natalie, who tied the knot with Kyle last year in this ridiculous ceremony my mom still brings up every chance she gets. I've always been the weird one, I guess. My sisters did the whole college, marriage, suburbs thing that my parents basically scripted for them since birth. Me? Went for computer science and got an apartment downtown. Been with Jason for 3 years now, but we're not in any rush to get married. We're good as is, you know? Try explaining that to my family, though. When Dad's 60th birthday dinner was announced, I actually felt kinda excited to go. I mean, we butt heads a lot, but he's still my dad. I even rearranged this huge work project deadline to make it happen. Spent forever picking out this perfect gift. A vintage record player, since Dad's always going on about his old vinyl collection. Even bought this new dress that cost way more than I should have spent. Still feeling guilty about that credit card charge. Day of the dinner, I had this weird feeling in my stomach. Like when you're about to give a presentation you're not prepared for. That's always how these family things feel for me. Did my hair all nice, squeezed into those stupid heels Mom always compliments, even though they pinch my toes, something awful. Looking back now, I was trying so hard it's almost embarrassing. The restaurant was exactly what you'd expect, all fancy with those tiny portions that cost a fortune and make you want to hit a drive-thru after. Parisi's, downtown Boston's newest it place, with waiters who look at you like you're committing a crime if you mispronounce the wine names. I spotted my family near the back. Mom waved, all excited, jingling that bracelet Dad got her last anniversary. Dad stood up with that half-smile thing he does when he's actually happy but thinks showing too much emotion might kill him or something. "There she is," he announced, like I was making some grand entrance instead of just being early. "Zoe, you look beautiful," Mom gushed, hugging me with that cloud of Chanel perfume around her. Not gonna lie, her approving my outfit gave me this weird little happiness boost that immediately made me mad at myself. Heather and Natalie both got up for hugs, their matching blonde highlights making my darker hair feel out of place as usual. Their husbands did those awkward half-handshakes that always make family gatherings feel like networking events. "How's the coding going?" Brian asked, with that tone people use when they have zero interest in your answer. Before I could even respond, Kyle jumped in with, "Must be nice having all that freedom without kids." I smiled through gritted teeth. Typical. Dad's golf game. Dad's golf game. Boring. Mom's garden club. Drama. More boring. Heather's kid doing something apparently amazing at preschool. Yawn. When I talked about my project launch, I swear I saw everyone's eyes glaze over. That's when I noticed something weird. Mom and Dad kept exchanging these looks, and Natalie was whispering something to Heather. There was this tension, like everyone knew something I didn't. Then the hostess came over with menus, heading toward 2 separate tables? Mom touched my arm with that fake, gentle thing she does when she's about to say something awful. "Zoe, honey," she said, voice dropping. "We have a special seating arrangement tonight." My stomach did this flip thing. I glanced between the tables. One big one clearly set for my parents, sisters, and their husbands, and this sad little table off to the side, with a single-place setting. We thought it would be nice to have the married couples at one table, Mom explained with this weird laugh, not even looking me in the eye. Dad suddenly got super interested in his watch. I just stood there, blinking, trying to process what was happening. "So, I'm sitting by myself?" I asked. The words felt ridiculous coming out of my mouth. "It's not like that, Zoe," Natalie jumped in. "It's just, well, we have couple things to discuss. Wedding anniversaries, house stuff." Kyle nodded beside her like some bobblehead doll. "It's the kids' table," Heather added with his fake smile. "Just like when we were little, remember? Except, well..." She trailed off, probably realizing comparing your 28-year-old sister to a child isn't a great look. The hostess stood there awkwardly, probably wishing she'd called in sick. I noticed people at nearby tables glancing over. Great. An audience for my humiliation. "I'm 28, I said quietly, my face burning hot. "I run a development team. I have a mortgage." My voice sounded weird and far away, like, was I really having to list my adult credentials to my own family? "Oh, honey, we know you're doing well," Dad finally said. "This isn't about that. It's just tradition, family tradition." "Since when?" I asked, genuinely confused. "We've never done this before." Mom's lips got all tight. "Well, it's a new tradition we're starting, for special occasions." She started pushing me toward the solo table. "You'll be right here, just a few feet away. You can still talk to us." I let myself be guided over, feeling sorta numb. As I sat down, I watched them all settle in, laughing, clinking glasses, passing bread around. And there I was, sitting alone with an empty chair across from me, like I got stood up for a date. Or something. The waiter came by, looking confused. "Are you waiting for someone else?" he asked. "No," I replied, trying not to sound as pathetic as I felt. "Just me." From the main table, I could hear them talking about Heather's anniversary trip to Napa, Natalie looking at houses in better school districts, Dad's friend becoming a grandfather. I sat there, staring at my menu without seeing it, feeling this mix of embarrassment, anger, and just sadness. This wasn't about dinner seating. This was them telling me I didn't belong because I didn't have a wedding ring. I sat there for exactly 7 minutes. I know because I kept checking my watch obsessively, trying to figure out what to do. 7 minutes of watching them have fun without me. 7 minutes of picking at a breadbasket meant for one. 7 minutes of other diners giving me those pitying looks that make you want to disappear. Something just clicked in my head. My therapist once talked about dignity being a choice, and sitting there, I finally got what she meant. I folded my napkin, picked up my purse, and walked to their table. "I'm going to head out," I said during a pause in their conversation. Surprised myself with how calm I sounded. They all froze, mid-whatever, forks in the air, wine glasses half raised. Mom recovered first. "Zoe, don't be sensitive," she whisper-hissed, clearly mortified someone might notice family drama. "We were just about to order." "I'm not being sensitive," I said. "I'm being self-respecting. There's a difference." Dad shifted in his chair. "Now, honey, don't make this into something it's not. It's just a seating arrangement. Come on, sit back down." Our waiter appeared. "Perfect timing, dude. Everything okay here?" Behind him, I could see people pretending not to watch while totally watching. "Everything's fine," I told him with a small smile. "I'm just leaving early." I turned to my family. "Enjoy your dinner. Happy birthday, Dad." I put his wrapped gift by his plate. That stupid record player I'd hunted for weeks to find. As I walked away, Heather called out, "Zoe, come on, you're overreacting." But I kept going, past the confused hostess, through those heavy doors, into the cool night air. In my car, I sat gripping the steering wheel, hands shaking. But weirdly, not from anger. It was like relief. This crazy feeling of standing up for myself. I hadn't screamed or made a scene, just refused to be treated like less. I let out this weird laugh-sob thing and just sat there a minute. Drove home, with the windows down, city lights all blurry from tears I refused to actually let fall. Not sad tears, though. The kind that come when something tight inside finally breaks loose. My apartment felt super quiet when I got back. Kicked those torture device heels across the floor the second I walked in. The fancy dress got tossed over my couch like a dead skin I was shedding. Pulled on my ratty mitt, sweatpants, and this oversized shirt I stole from Jason years ago. Clothes that felt like me. Stood in my kitchen, staring into the fridge, suddenly starving. Made this ridiculous grilled cheese with 3 different cheeses that Jason always makes fun of me for. Ate it standing up at the counter, scrolling through my phone. 12 missed calls already. 3 from Mom, 4 from Dad, 2 from Heather, 3 from Natalie. Hit mute and kept eating. When Jason called around 9, I actually picked up. "Hey," I said with my mouth still full. "How was the fancy dinner?" he asked. Could hear hospital sounds in the background, still on his residency shift. Well, I sat at the kids' table. Literally, by myself. Silence. Then, "You're kidding." Wish I was. Told him everything, while curled up on my window seat, watching the city lights. Jason swore so creatively it made me laugh. One of the things I love about him, how he gets mad on my behalf. "Should have called me," he said. "I would have shown up and sat with you." The thought made me smile. "And ruined your perfect attendance record? Dr. Miller would have murdered you." I sighed. Besides, it wasn't about having company. It was about them not seeing me as an equal. After we hung up, filled my tub with an obscene amount of bubbles and soaked till my fingers got all pruny. Thought about family dinners when we were kids. How me and my sisters used to make each other laugh until milk came out our noses. When did everything change? When I chose tech instead of teaching like they did? When I moved downtown? Or just because I didn't follow their life timeline? Hit me while I was drying off. Maybe I'd never really fit, and I'd just been too busy trying to belong to notice. Maybe walking out of that restaurant was the most honest thing I'd done with my family in years. Turned my phone completely off before bed. Whatever family crisis I'd caused could wait till morning. Slept like a rock for the first time in forever. When I turned my phone back on next morning, it went crazy. Bees, 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 bees non-stop. 27 missed calls, 14 voicemails, 35 texts. Sat cross-legged on my bed with coffee and started going through them. Mom's first message came just 15 minutes after I'd left. "Zoe, honey, please call us back. We're worried about you driving upset. The dinner just started and Dad is disappointed you're missing his birthday." Classic mom move. No mention of why I left. By her third voicemail, "Zoe, Elizabeth, this isn't how adults handle disagreements. You're making a scene without even being here." Nearly spit my coffee laughing at that one. Dad's messages started an hour after I'd left. "Pumpkin, call your mother, she's upset." Then later, "Look, maybe we didn't think through the seating thing. Give us a call when you can." The texts showed this weird progression from "how dare you" to "we're worried" to finally something like "understanding." Natalie's last one actually got to me. "I get why you left. I would have done the same. Call when you're ready. Love you." While debating who to call first, Dad called again, took a deep breath and answered. "Hey, Dad." "Zoe," he sounded relieved. "You're okay. Your mother's been beside herself." "I'm fine, just needed space." Awkward pause before he continued, sounding weirdly uncertain. "Listen, about last night. It was a mistake, that seating arrangement. Your mother thought, well, it doesn't matter what she thought. It was wrong. It was humiliating," I said quietly. "I know that now." He cleared his throat. "Sometimes I forget you're not little anymore. In my head, you're still that kid who needed help reaching the cereal bowls." She wasn't letting him off that easy. I'm an adult, Dad, just like Heather and Natalie. You're right. Another pause. Your mom wants to talk to you. She's been practicing what to say all morning. Could hear a hint of humor in his voice. Mom got on the phone and launched into this obviously rehearsed speech about intentions versus impact. Surprisingly self-aware for her. We never meant to make you feel excluded, she finished. But you did, I said simply. I know that now, she admitted. And I'm sorry. True. My sisters called after. Heather started defensive but eventually admitted they should have spoken up. Natalie was more direct. It was messed up, and I sat there letting it happen. I'm sorry, Zoe. 2 weeks later we tried again, not at some fancy restaurant but at my parents' house. Brought Jason this time, my choice. Before agreeing to come, I'd had this long, painful conversation with my parents about respect and equal treatment. It wasn't easy. Mom kept trying to make it sound like no big deal, and Dad kept trying to smooth everything over too fast. But I stuck to my guns. I need you to understand something, I told them. I won't show up to family stuff where I'm treated as less than because I'm not married. That's my line. They actually listened. Dad even called back the next day, saying he'd been thinking about our talk and realized he'd been unfair to me for years. You've accomplished so much, he said, and I've been missing it because I was looking for the wrong things. At that Sunday dinner, we all sat at one table. Conversation was awkward at first, but then Jason started telling stories about his craziest ER patients, and everyone loosened up. Mom actually asked real questions about my work project, and Dad seemed genuinely interested when I explained our new software. As we were leaving, Mom hugged me tight. I'm proud of you, she whispered, not just for your success, but for standing up for yourself, even to us. Nothing's perfect. Heather still makes comments about my unconventional lifestyle sometimes, and Mom occasionally sends me articles about women who found happiness after prioritizing family over career. But something changed. I showed them my boundaries, and weirdly, they're actually respecting them. The kids' table thing became a family reference point. Remember when we tried to put Zoe at the kids' table and she walked out? Dad now says with this self-deprecating laugh. Their way of admitting they were wrong, I guess. As for me, I learned something that night. Sometimes walking away isn't giving up. It's the strongest way to stand up for yourself. And sometimes the family you've got can actually become the family you need, if you're brave enough to show them how.